police report, you're known as a trafficker of drugs. That's what it says in the police report, and that's what was stipulated to. I don't think you're a good candidate for probation. State versus Samantha Venegas. Could I have parties announced?
Jason Garrett, from the state, Your Honor.
Denny Callahan, defense.
And are you Miss Venegas?
Yes, ma'am.
You entered a plea to count 2 on March 26. You entered a plea of no contest. According to your plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 15 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine. State opposes your application for community supervision and deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration 2024 CR 008054. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report and TAP evaluation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, before I hear argument, there are some things that defense maybe you can address with the court. It says in the PSI that her guilt is minimized. And I did read where she's saying that the vehicle's not hers. She knew there was drugs in the trunk, but she didn't throw them away. She didn't do anything about it. So I don't know if there's any insight you would like to give on that.
Yes, Your Honor. I think it's a good inference from the stipulations and the PSI that she was used as a pawn, taking advantage of her poverty and her addictions to methamphetamine. And she's ashamed of that in her life, not only you, but more particularly to her family. There is an element of voluntariness in her actions. There's also an element of being trapped in her actions. And that was one of the things I would ask the court to consider before you assess punishment. I have 3 other remarks.
All right, you may proceed.
And I suggest to the court as a proper resolution of this case, because she's still relatively young, deferred adjudication, 10 years, ISF treatment, and she asks you to put her into drug court, which is intensive supervision for every day. That shows some indication of remorse and desire to be rehabilitated.
All right, so here's part of my issues, right?
Yes, ma'am.
One, I have to look at criminal history. And I would have clients sometimes, you know what they would tell me? Why are people looking at my criminal history? We're just here for this. That was in the past. But I would always tell them that your criminal history is sort of like a credit report. And what you're trying to get is probation. So people are trying to say, has she been placed on probation before? You know, will she do well?
Please subscribe.